The story begins with a breathtaking view of the Trollwall Mountains in Norway. There we meet a married couple, Sasha and Alex, who are both professional rock climbers trying to conquer the extreme mountain range. That morning, they wake up inside a portalage, a special tent that hangs directly from the cliff wall. Since the weather looks clear, Sasha immediately asks Alex to continue their climb toward the top. With their equipment ready, from camming devices clipped into cracks in the rock, to ropes, helmets, and other professional gear, they continue the climb. They move slowly with skill and calm experience. But when they reach a certain height, where the route forces them across a difficult overhanging section, Sasha keeps failing again and again.
Nice.
Because Sasha cannot get past that part, and because the sky is starting to get dark, Alex asks her to rest and continue tomorrow. But Sasha refuses to go down. She keeps pushing herself because this is not their first time climbing this mountain, and this same section has always been the place where she fails. In the end, Sasha's curiosity and frustration make her force herself to continue. But because they spend too much time arguing, night soon falls. The weather gets worse, and only then does Sasha agree to return to the tent. Unfortunately, the bad weather makes the descent extremely difficult, until an accident suddenly happens. And in that moment, everything in her life changes. This is Apex. 5 months later, Sasha has lost her husband. She now lives alone with regret constantly haunting her heart and mind. For 5 months, she has not gone on a single adventure. Deep down, Sasha actually wants to stop completely, but there is still one place she and Alex once planned to visit together, a place they never got the chance to explore. So Sasha finally decides to go there alone, not to climb, but to scatter her husband's ashes and close the final chapter of their journey. The place is a wild forest with all kinds of dangerous terrain, from steep cliffs and flowing rivers to natural rock formations. That day, Sasha goes straight to the registration post to get permission to explore and camp. The ranger warns Sasha not to go alone because over the past few months, many people have gotten lost and disappeared. Even now, they still have not been found. On the notice board, there are also several photos of missing people, and the number is not small, but that is just how Sasha is. She is reckless. Before leaving, she buys some supplies at a small store. There she runs into two hunters who start teasing and bothering her. Luckily, a man named Ben is at the cashier, and he helps her by telling the two men to leave her alone. After shopping, Sasha's car happens to be parked next to Ben's car. She uses the chance to ask him about the route while showing him the map she brought. Because when it comes to traveling through the forest, GPS is not always useful. Ben kindly explains the fastest path to Sasha's destination. That night, after finally reaching her destination, Sasha is just about to step out of her car and start setting up her camp, including preparing her pepper spray. But suddenly, the same group of hunters from earlier shows up. Without hesitation, she gets back into the car, locks the doors, and ignores them as they try to provoke her. The next morning, Sasha is relieved to find that everything is quiet. The hunters are gone. She immediately begins her journey, traveling down the river using a small canoe, carrying a bag filled with all her camping gear. Once she reaches a deeper part of the forest, she carries out her purpose. She scatters her husband's ashes and places a few photos there. After that, she hangs her bag on a tree branch and rests inside the tent she has set up. But the following morning, something feels off. When she steps outside the tent, her bag is suddenly gone. Even stranger, there is a snake inside her tent, even though she is sure it was completely sealed the night before. Not long after, Sasha gets into her canoe to look around the area. When she spots a blue boat parked along the riverbank, she approaches it, hoping to find someone nearby. That is when she runs into Ben. Sasha explains that someone took her belongings during the night, including her bag, phone, and food. They sit together and talk for a while. The conversation starts casually, even drifting into something as simple as the shredded beef Ben makes for his camping trips. He calls it Gino, a name taken from his mother. As they continue talking, Ben shares why he prefers being alone in the forest. According to him, people in the city are exhausting and full of hypocrisy, and the forest is the only place where he feels at peace. But when Sasha brings up the hunters who bothered her the night before, the mood shifts. Ben reveals that he was actually there with them. The moment she hears that, Sasha immediately becomes uneasy and wants to leave. Before she can go, Ben shows her a bracelet in his hand. It belongs to Sasha, the same one that was inside her missing bag. Fear starts to take over as Sasha realizes what is happening. She just wants to get away. Then Ben walks into his cabin and throws out Sasha's stolen bag. He comes back out holding a speaker and a bow weapon. Without explaining much, he makes his intention clear. He tells Sasha to run, and once the music stops, he will start hunting her. Panicking, Sasha grabs her bag and runs as fast as she can. She jumps into her canoe and pushes herself down the river, trying to get as far away as possible. Before long, the music stops, and the hunt begins. Sasha paddles away in her canoe with no clear direction, letting the river current carry her. But things quickly go wrong. As she approaches a waterfall, she loses control, and the canoe flips over. In that moment, she chooses to grab her bag instead of the boat, knowing it contains all her survival gear. She makes her way to the riverbank and hides, trying to stay quiet. Then she hears voices nearby, sounding like a family camping. Staying cautious, she slowly moves closer, hoping to find help. But the moment quickly turns unsettling. The voices are not real. They are coming from a phone that has clearly been set up by Ben to lure her in. Realizing she is still being hunted, Sasha runs again. Ben continues his twisted game, firing arrows to keep her moving. At one point, he deliberately aims at her bag instead of her, still treating everything like a game. The impact throws Sasha off balance, and she falls into the fast-moving river. This time, the current carries her far enough to create some distance between her and Ben. She keeps following the river until she reaches a cliff. With no other choice, she climbs up and manages to reach the top. From there, she tries to figure out where she is and plan a way out. Using her binoculars, she scans the area, only to spot Ben in the distance, calmly enjoying the hunt. Sasha realizes that Ben knows the forest far too well, and tracking her is easy for him. So she comes up with a new plan. The only way to stay ahead is to use a boat, something Ben would struggle to chase. She hides and waits for the right moment, planning to steal his. Then something strange happens. In the middle of the hunt, Ben suddenly acts relaxed. He plays around near the roots of trees, then jumps into the water and starts bathing, like nothing is wrong. Seeing this opportunity, Sasha takes a risk. She dives into the river, swimming underwater to stay hidden as she approaches his boat. But her luck runs out. The boat is tied down, and she struggles to free it. In the process, she triggers a hidden bear trap. At that exact moment, Ben appears and moves in to capture her. Sasha reacts quickly and sprays her pepper spray, but it barely affects him. He simply raises his weapon and takes control. It turns out Ben had already prepared everything. The relaxed behavior was just part of his trap. Soon after Sasha is captured, Ben leaves her tied up in the rain for hours while he watches her from a distance, clearly proud of what he has done. The next morning, with her hands bound, Sasha is taken away by boat. Along the way, Ben reveals that he already knew about her. He had seen her on the news, the survivor of a deadly climbing accident where her husband did not make it. That is what made her interesting to him. When he saw her at the store, he decided she would be the perfect target. Someone skilled, someone challenging. For him, it is all just a game. As he talks, Sasha notices a piece of metal near her feet. She tries to grab it and fight back, but he catches her attempt immediately. Instead, he throws her into the water and drags her behind the boat without care, letting her hit whatever comes her way. To him, it is all part of the fun. Eventually, Ben brings Sasha to a hidden cave. Inside, she is shocked by what she finds. The missing people from the forest, the ones who were never found, are all victims of Ben. Inside the cave, Sasha notices something even more disturbing. She finds packages of shredded meat labeled with a name that belongs to Ben's mother. It becomes clear that the meat is actually his own mother, and that raises a terrifying question about why Ben has been doing all of this. Before killing her, Ben forces Sasha to sit down and tries to justify himself. In his mind, anyone he loves or hates must become a part of him forever, so they can never leave or betray him, just like his father once did. Old photos reveal that he grew up only with his mother. He lived a painful life, loving her deeply while also carrying hatred toward his father. Over time, that pain twisted him into a lonely psychopath. That is why he hunts people in the forest. He keeps them in the cave, making sure they will always stay with him. When Ben gets close to Sasha and makes his intentions clear, she finally resists and manages to break free. She runs, but he follows closely behind. Because her hands are still bound, the two end up connected by the same line, pulled along by the strong current until they are swept over a massive waterfall. The fall leaves Ben unconscious, giving Sasha a rare chance to escape. She gathers her strength and does everything she can to defend herself. Ben's leg is broken, leaving him unable to move. But the situation is far from over. They remain tied together by the rope, keeping their distance while still connected. Sasha cannot remove the metal restraints on her hands, and getting close to Ben is dangerous since he is still holding a knife, ready to defend himself. Eventually, Sasha starts looking for a way out. She asks how long it would take to reach the nearest camp. Ben estimates around 12 days, since they have been carried far downstream, passing several waterfalls and ending up deep below the hills. That leaves only one option. The fastest way out is to climb the massive cliff in front of them. But because they are tied together, they have no choice but to climb it together. Ben cannot walk, and Sasha cannot escape without him. As a professional climber, Sasha agrees to the plan. She offers to carry Ben while climbing, showing him a method that allows them to move even with his injured leg, as long as he removes the restraints from her hands. Ben hesitates but eventually agrees. He sets one condition. If Sasha successfully gets him to the top, he will let her go. But if she tries anything, they will both fall together. With no other choice, the climb begins. Slowly, step by step, they begin climbing the cliff. But Sasha is not naive. She understands that with the limited gear they have, the rope will never be strong enough to hold both of them. If anything goes wrong, they will fall together. As she climbs, Sasha quietly looks for an opportunity. At one point, she carefully works on loosening the rope around her waist, but her first attempt doesn't succeed. She continues upward until she reaches a slanted rock section where she is less visible from below. Using that moment, she tries again to free herself. This time she succeeds. The line connecting them comes loose, and their connection is broken. In that moment, Sasha is finally on her own. With no rope and no safety support, she continues the climb, relying only on her strength and focus. Her body is exhausted, but she keeps moving forward with everything she has left. In the end, her skill and experience carry her through. She manages to reach the top safely. Without wasting time, she leaves the area on foot until she eventually finds another survivor who gives her a ride. Together, they return to the registration post. There, Sasha reports the location where all the missing people were taken. The story ends with a rescue team arriving at the site, recovering the victims of Ben's crimes. So the moral of the story is never trust a random guy in the forest who makes homemade snacks, owns a speaker, and looks way too excited about camping alone.